Hey guys, Paigesugarbutts here and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to make another random video about horror games because as you can probably tell by my channel, I really like horror games. I talk about them a lot and there's just so many out there that I enjoy. So yeah, there's been a lot of like rant videos lately about horror games that I enjoy, and I enjoy making these videos and you guys seem to enjoy watching them. So yeah, I'm going to keep ranting about horror games that I like. However, today I want to talk more about like the obscure type horror games because I talk a lot about some pretty popular games because you know they're really good. However, there's a few like horror games out there that I've played and enjoyed, but I don't really hear people talk about. It's not that they're bad or anything, I just don't really see people talk about them. Maybe it's because of the console that it's on, or just didn't get very popular, or it's weird, or who knows. So yeah, today I just kind of wanted to like rant about some video games that I've played and I really enjoyed, but I just don't hear people talk about them that much. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first horror game I kind of want to talk about today is a little game called Creeping Terror. Now this game is pretty much only on the 3DS. I believe you can play it on PC as well. However, that's like the only console that it's on. So yeah, not many people have played this game. However, I was always like on the 3DS eShop whenever, you know, the 3DS was popular. I miss the 3DS games, the 3DS days so much. I really do. I played so much of my 3DS. But anyway, so as I said, I was always playing my 3DS and I'm a huge horror fan, and there's not many horror 3DS games to begin with, but I found this little game called Creeping Terror and I just enjoyed this game a lot. It was generally like a fun horror game, and you know, it's not like it had amazing graphics or anything because it was a 3DS, so it went for a more like stylistic approach. And you know, you don't always need like these hyper realistic scary graphics in order to make a game terrifying. Like sometimes all you need is just like a good setting, good characters, and there you go. And you know, this game isn't perfect or anything, but it's definitely a good horror game, and I really like the villain in this game. I don't know, I definitely suggest it if you have a 3DS or if you even want to play it on your PC. I definitely recommend it because it's a fun game. It's unfortunate that it may get lost to time because like I said, I don't even think you can download it on the 3DS anymore. Sorry, my dog got zoomies by the way. But yeah, you can't really even download it anymore because with the 3DS shop being closed and everything. So it's just sad to see like horror games like this get lost to time. But like I said, I think you can still play it on PC, and I really hope you can because it's a great game and I definitely recommend checking it out. Up next is another 3DS game. Like I said, there's not very many like horror 3DS games out there, but I played pretty much all the ones that I could get my hands on, and that includes this little game right here, Spirit Camera The Cursed Memoir. I enjoyed this game so much, and it's actually like a spin-off to the Fatal Frame series, which like I love Fatal Frame so much. And this game was super unique in the fact that it came with this little book in here, and you literally can't play the game without this book. Like if you don't have this little piece of paper with, you know, with the game, then you can't really even play it, which like it's a really cool gimmick and all, but you know, it does make it hard to find now because if you don't have like the complete, you can't really even play it or anything. But this game was super cool. Like I said, I'm a huge Fatal Frame fan. That was so bad. But anyway, yeah, huge fan of the series, and so just having a spin-off on the 3DS was such an interesting idea, but it works so well. You kind of look like a goofball when you play this game because you're like holding your 3DS and you have to like move it around because then you have to actually take pictures of the ghost. As you know, if you've played Fatal Frame games before, you know, you take pictures of the ghost to defeat them, which you actually do with the 3DS camera, like in your own house or in your room, which is like really cool. It was like a fun gimmick, and like I said, you use the book to like progress through the story. So it was definitely a very interesting game, and it's just crazy that I don't really hear people talk about it just because one, it's so unique. Like it's just such a crazy gimmick, which is probably why you don't hear people talk about it. But still, I mean, I don't know, just such a wacky game you think people would talk about, and especially because of the fact that it is a Fatal Frame game. Like it's such a huge series, and I just never hear anybody talk about this game. But it's just such an odd game, which is I guess why you don't hear people talk about it. But personally, I loved it. It was weird and unique, and it just was a really fun way to play the 3DS, even if like I said it was weird. But yeah, I definitely love the game. Now, if you're any kind of horror fan like I am, obviously the PS2 is full of so many amazing horror games. However, there's a few on there that like not many people have played. I mean, obviously, because there's so many great ones, there's going to be a few that get lost in the shuffle because you have all your amazing Resident Evil games, your Silent Hill games, and just like so many classics. So yeah, one PS2 game that I really enjoyed is Area 51. This is one that you don't really hear people talk about too much. it's aliens, obviously, Area 51. Not the scariest game in the world, but it actually has some good tension building sometimes. And I'm just surprised I don't really hear people talk about this game so much, especially because there's so many good like sci-fi horror games out there. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this game, and I wish people would talk about it more because it really is a fun game. And yeah, I don't know, I never really see people talk about it, so it's a bummer. And speaking of sci-fi horror games on the PS2 that nobody talks about, Extermination, another really good one. I literally never hear anybody talk about it. It's, you know, a relatively cheap game. I mean, a lot of PS2 horror games have like skyrocketed in price. It's so hard to find a good, you know, horror game on the PS2, but this one I think you could still grab for like 20 bucks nowadays. Like, it's really not that expensive, maybe even cheaper if you're lucky. But yeah, this game is great. I definitely recommend it, especially if you're like a Dead Space fan. Like, check it out, it's really cool. Yeah, I never hear anybody talk about it. Like, I probably heard a little more about Area 51 than I heard this game, but yeah, it's just wacky, and you know, it really takes you back to the good old PS2 horror game days. Like, gaming isn't the same anymore. So yeah, I totally recommend this game if you love a good PS2 sci-fi horror game. Like, please check it out, so cool. So yeah, those are kind of some games like lost to time. However, there are like newer games that, you know, are coming out all the time and you just don't really hear people talk about because they get lost in the shuffle, of course. So yeah, now I kind of want to talk about like a newer one, which is Bramble the Mountain King. This game only came out like maybe 2 years ago, and I enjoyed this game so much. I really did. Now this one I hear talked about a little more than games like Extermination or Creeping Terror, but it's still just not talked about enough, and I love this game so much. It was so unique, so fun, and the monsters were like generally like really scary. This game like actually like freaked me out a bit, and it was a pretty short experience, only being about 4-ish hours I think I beat it in. But yeah, I definitely recommend Bramble the Mountain King if you want like a quick horror experience, and I just enjoyed it so much. Like, I just can't recommend this game enough. Like I said, I played this game maybe like 2 years ago, and I still think about it a lot today, even though it's like such a quick game. I don't know, I really enjoyed it. The art style is really cool and unique, and honestly, it's such a beautiful game, but also like scary. And like, that's why I'm excited about like Silent Hill F coming up, because like, it's cool whenever they incorporate like beauty and horror. It just, I don't know, there's just something about it. And so yeah, I definitely recommend checking out Bramble the Mountain King. Love this game so much. Like, seriously, I can talk about it all day, and I'm pretty sure I made like a small video about it before on my channel, maybe like a year or two ago. But yeah, definitely recommend playing this game. Next is like a super old PC game, which like I never hear anybody talk about anymore, and it's unfortunately really hard to get your hands on now to play just because it is so old. And that would be The Path. This game is like not like your typical horror game. It's just like more of a psychological type of thing, and it just really makes you think. But yeah, The Path is definitely a very unique horror game. I don't want to like get too much into it just because like I don't want to spoil anything, because it really is like something you have to experience. But if you are interested on it, there's lots of good videos out there. Like here's a few right here that I recommend watching. But yeah, or just go play it yourself if you are able to get your hands on it. Unfortunately, it is really hard nowadays, but you can still watch like old YouTube videos on this game and everything, and watch playthroughs. But yeah, it's just, like I said, such a bummer how like some video games can get lost to time, and I just really don't want to see that happen, especially like to some of my favorite horror games. It really is sad, like seeing our video game media get lost to time, and especially now that like so many games are going digital. It's just like digital only, especially, it's like what are gonna happen to these games like over the years. So yeah, it's sad. But anywho, I'm like getting distracted here. But The Path, play it, really good if you're able to get your hands on it, or just watch a playthrough of it. Watch multiple. Like, it's so interesting, and there's so much lore to it. It's just an amazing game, and honestly I might make like a separate video, so please let me know down below if you guys want a video on like me talking about just The Path, because I would like to do that. It's a really cool game. So yeah, the last game I'm going to talk about in this video is Paranorma Site. I did see some people talking about this game. It's pretty much only on PC and on the Nintendo Switch. This was like a really fun horror game. I just like randomly heard somebody talking about it the one day. Like, I think I ran into a video with somebody talking about it, and I was just like, oh, I should check that out. But I don't see too many people talk about it. It's like a visual novel type horror game, but not exactly. Like, there's more to it than that. And the story is really interesting, and I really enjoyed this game. and it's just a really good time. I just don't see enough people talking about it, and it's on modern consoles, it's on the Switch. But yeah, it's not on like PlayStation or Xbox or anything like that, but it's a cool game. I definitely recommend checking it out. Really creepy, good story. I can't get over the story, like I said. It's really good. So definitely check out Paranorma Site. Now, obviously, I could just keep going. There are so many great horror games out there that I've played that are just not recommended enough, but I'd probably be here all day. So if you guys want another video sometime about me talking about more, horror games that people don't talk about, I could do that. If not, we got this one. So yeah, for now, those are the horror games that I just don't really hear people talk about, and it makes me sad because they're really good. And so yeah, I hope maybe I added another game to your list that you could play if you were looking for some other horror game to play, because we all play the same horror games. They're all really good, and that's great, but sometimes you just gotta step out of your comfort zone and play some really obscure, just random horror games that nobody talks about. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.